Hi, I'm Jackie, and welcome to the You, Me, We Therapy Podcast. In this podcast, I want to explore emotions. Why would I want to do that? It's because I'm a counsellor and I'm interested in emotions. In today's episode, I want to explore about online dating apps and mental health and mental well-being. I think a lot of emotions can be drawn up from these situations and these environments. And emotions teach us things. I think they are energy frequencies that we can learn a lot from. In this episode, I'm going to talk about my ideas and some of the thoughts I have. And in the following episode, I'm going to interview somebody who has experience in this so we can hear what it's like firsthand from somebody who is using dating apps and how it affects their view on dating and romance. So, stick around.
This podcast is not a substitute for seeking professional mental health advice. If anything in this episode is upsetting and somebody feels they need further exploration with this, please seek professional advice. And if you feel unable to keep yourself safe, please take yourself to A&E.
Have the days of scribbling your number down on a bit of paper gone? Or somebody giving you their number on a bit of paper, have they gone? And then you letting it wait some time before you phone or before they phone, however it goes. Because nowadays, you can access somebody's profile on social media quite quickly. I mean, literally, you could be in front of somebody, they can give you their socials, and you can see what they're about. There's an acceleration of that time of getting to know somebody. And I'm going along the lines of thinking, that even if it's not an intimate relationship, just somebody who you could come across, when it's something to do with connecting with another person, something like connecting to somebody's Instagram, for example, it instantly tells you a bit about that person and their story. So what could have been a bit of a lead up in getting to know somebody, now you can do it pretty quick. You can see images of their friends, knowing what they do in their spare time. Previously, that may have taken weeks. Now it can be done in an instant moment of meeting and greeting and getting to know somebody and saying hi. The kind of emotions that might come up with that when it comes to connection and a dating app. I'll give you an example. There could be a heightened level of external validation becoming an issue in another person showing interest, or you having an interest in another person having interest in what it is you're doing. One could perceive another person's interest in them being demonstrated by how that person shows interest in the content that they post. An example could be somebody could look at something someone's posted and think in their head, I like that piece of content, but they've not clicked the like button. Knowing that said person has seen that content and not clicked the like button could be perceived as a rejection by somebody who is hoping to have that external validation from said person about something they've posted. So it could bring about or bring to the surface someone's sensitivities, which is a real delicate, vulnerable side of us as individuals. So if you take that to the place of dating, I'd imagine it has a huge impact on somebody's mental well-being and mental health. I'm sure even the most robust people would run the risk of feeling quite rejected or dejected, potentially. So what then for those who are living with mental health conditions such as anxiety? And with dating apps, you're expected to put pictures up of yourself, and rightly so. It's like kind of a shopping. You don't want to get caught up in false advertising. And are there interests that that person has that you have too? Or are there things in the image that actually might put you off, so you wouldn't bother pursuing that any further? So it instantly starts from a level of, I'd say, like a surface level, and then it can go down into something deeper. So what would it be like then for somebody who sees something they like and wants it to go deeper than the other person does? There's the medium of the phone device, the app, other features that might come in the app could influence, could even probably get in the way of how people communicate. But in the world of online dating, you get the opportunity to probably put a star or a heart next to somebody's picture and file it away. A bit like when you're shopping online and you put something in the basket, but you might get it, you might not get it. You might still want to click the continue shopping link and continue. So it can blur those lines between seeing another human as some sort of commodity versus someone who has feelings. That doesn't sound very kind, does it? Like, texts can be misconstrued. Not everybody's good at communicating in that way, and not everyone's able to communicate what they're feeling on the spot, which dating apps could potentially put people in that position to be ready to go. What do you like? What do you do? Have you got the answers? Pitch yourself to me now. Go, go, go. There could be a artificial haste that may come about. And a lot of it actually could be about perception. How long is too long to stay on an app? How long is too long to take to respond to a message? How long is too long to wait to get in touch with somebody? And about the etiquette that may come with these things, there could be a very grey area. We're around dating apps enough socially to get a gist of how they work, even if you've never been on one. And there is a level of fallout that can come from those who invest time in them and how they manage and how they cope with some of these emotions that bring up. There are obviously loads of positives that come from online dating. It can make dating accessible to people who wouldn't have maybe had that accessibility before. There's a convenience to it. Is there a payoff to having that convenience? Like anything with the internet, it has the potential for people to fabricate and lie. But I'm curious about how dating in the modern culture that we have here, with online dating and apps, how it actually affects mental well-being and the level of psychological resilience that may be needed when using dating apps. With regards to people telling the truth, there could be an assumption that people would put what they are intending on their bio or their profile for it to be truthful, yet there could also be an expectation that if they really put what they want, it wouldn't draw in, like they might not catch the fish, so to speak. So there could be a tendency to want to put what they think another person may be wanting to hear. So in turn, that person's now being unauthentic. And obviously that's not very good, is it? On many levels, that can create a lot of mess. If somebody put on there, I'm currently in a situation, I haven't finished off that situation yet, but I am bored, so I won't mind meeting somebody else. And in the meantime, maybe if this works out, we'll keep in touch and keep this going. But I'm hoping to keep you on the side while I keep this other thing I've got going on churning over. And I've got a few other people I'm interested in, but I haven't really made up my mind. And I've got a couple of kids out there. Sometimes I see them, sometimes I don't. So you're going to have to be patient while I figure that one out. And if somebody puts something like that up, is it very appealing? Probably not. So they're going to polish it to make it look as shiny and appealing as it possibly can. So they're going to leave off the actual truth to make it look as fantastic for somebody who would want to be interested, or someone who they want interest from the image that they put out. So people have a tendency to hide away the skeletons, is what I'm saying. Yet they are easily in contact with somebody who could be the complete opposite, who may be very open. How does that weigh out for people? The way in which I'm suggesting mental health and online dating run into each other and collide and can possibly cause trouble at times. It's like when I mentioned earlier about perception, self-belief, fluctuations in mood, highs and lows, possibly troubling memories from the past or trauma. What can online dating trigger? And in regards to perception, how would somebody perceive tactics like benched, breadcrumbed and ghosted, all terms used in dating? I'll go into that shortly. It could interfere with someone's perception of reality. Are they really happening, or am I oversensitive and imagining things? No, not really. It's about following your intuition. And if someone's around you treating you in an unfair manner, in an unpleasant way, you're going to need to use your discernment in order to keep yourself safe. But this is where red flags can get overlooked, and there can be a grey area with online dating where you may not be too sure if you're being played. Obviously, I'd always suggest following your gut feeling, but there is an area of time where there's a potential for red flags to be overlooked. The benefit of the doubt can be given, a period of grace where things have the potential to slip and it can be unclear as to what someone's intentions are. And it does take time to get to know somebody, so it may take some weeks, perhaps months, of putting some time into something before you fully get a picture of what's actually happening. If you're unable to immediately act off a gut instinct, if you're unable to immediately act off a gut instinct that you picked up instantly from meeting that person, not everybody's able to do that instantly, especially if it's a negative feeling. Someone might have a tendency to doubt themselves, which is a real shame. But I mentioned, for example, ghosting, when somebody who was engaging with you once suddenly stops, seeming to have disappeared like a ghost. When someone's signing up to a dating app, I'm gathering it's assumed you would know that there's potential for being treated in that way. But my question is there anything explicitly explaining to people how there's an assumption that through experience, like a baptism of fire almost, that somebody would know these things? Catfished, somebody who pretending to be somebody they're not. It's like the ultimate okie doke. Somebody putting up images and responding to messages, pretending to be a whole different character than who they actually are, for various different reasons. But it's very easy to do something like that in the world of online dating and breadcrumbing, giving somebody just enough to keep them interested, but not too much, just stringing somebody along. Now this could definitely play with somebody's perception. Somebody could find they are interested in somebody, but the other person's breadcrumbing them. They're interested in somebody who has an alternative agenda, perhaps because they're going to bench that person who has that. There's a lot of time wasting that could happen. With somebody that could have a mental health issue, there could be a lot of highs and a lot of lows of something like breadcrumbing. It can be very confusing and unclear, and a lot of these behaviours, obviously they're extremely toxic, but they come about when somebody doesn't know what they want. And when somebody doesn't know what they want, there's a much higher tendency to have less regard for another person's feelings, because they haven't acknowledged their own feelings and what they're wanting. That person's out exploring and possibly have small regard for what that possibly could be doing with the people that they could be exploring with. Now, this isn't me trying to tell anybody off, like Auntie Jackie saying don't do this and don't do this, but basically what I'm saying is, though, I do believe in treat people how you want to be treated. I think what could hurt most for people who could find themselves in these difficulties is the idea that another person could waste your time. Something about time really sticks out for me. When I think about it, when I've been in positions of conversing of people in these situations, The idea that another person puts in time only to waste another person's time is what could only be described as really head messed with. It's a very upsetting, devastating realization that you could have put your time into something that's then put their time into wasting your time. It can almost bring about an existential crisis to think that what's it all about? We only have a limited amount of time on earth. Now someone's just used their time, wasted my time and my time spent on their time. Oh. For what entertainment purposes? Potentially. It's very upsetting. So these emotions that come up with online dating, feelings of rejection, feelings of lust, excitement, disappointment, feelings of hope, feeling thrilled and flattered, yet feeling vulnerable and too scared to express what you're truly feeling. All of that could perhaps happen in a space of one day for somebody who's going through the ups and downs with the algorithms of what's being sent to their phones, and obviously the filters that are set and their selections. And perhaps somebody could have been using ChatGPT and AI to help them communicate, and it's got in the way of the style of communication. There could be positives and negatives to this. Ultimately, these apps are there to seek relationships, even if they're not long-term relationships, or somebody may be seeking a long-term relationships. People have the opportunity to pick and choose if they want something casual or serious. And humans, we seek, even if we don't want to admit it at times, intimacy. That's saying no man is an island. What it's saying is that there's only so much one person can do on their own. As people, we're social creatures. We have a tendency to want to be in relation with others. And relationships, me using that word doesn't mean long-term, highly committed relationships. It could be anything from that all the way down to casual encounters. And these apps are there for people to pick and choose what they feel suits them. And how it impacts mental health, like I said, I'm suggesting it probably does. The research is showing that swipe-based dating apps can be linked to high levels of depression and anxiety and distress. So it's something to bear in mind. Self-care when using these type of services. Thanks for sticking with this. Have a lovely day.